Hey, buddy.
Shazam.
Excuse me. My throat's doing
25
funny.
hours of travel later, and here we are.
You did it and you're alive. You made it back to
Oh my
Canada.
God. I did.
Canada's good. Look what I got. Look at this little
Oh, what
thing.
you got? What's that one?
It's a little retro machine.
Retro
It's like,
Machine.
yeah.
Look at that.
It's got
Where'd you
like
find
all
that?
these games on it on a auction.
In auction.
An
Is what you
online
said.
auction. I'll be getting a lot of cool stuff from there. Here's a game called Power Robot. Yeah, so it's all these classic games, which is so cool. Just a little on-off button on the back. It's got 200 games in it. That little dealie does.
Like just the basics, basically.
Well, all
Like,
kinds of games, just like,
yeah, yeah.
fun ones, crappy ones, but and then of course I got the Frogger,
Yeah.
and then I
Yeah.
got Centipede.
Oh, that's a good one. Back then, and
Classics.
that's like 83, right? 84. So that's like
Yeah.
we're all like, whoa, this is the greatest thing ever. And then
It's fun to have those. I'm redoing the basement, right? Because Taylor's moved out now. She's in Toronto, living it up in the city. So the
out you go.
basement, yeah. So the basement now, I've repainted the whole thing, and I did a really dark paint to it that my wife picked
Yeah.
out, and of course the white trim, and it just looks so cinema studio like. It's beautiful. I got some nice
What's the
photos
plan
up
down there?
there.
What's the
Just
plan gonna be?
no stress, no work. A place where you can just hang out and watch good
Yeah, yeah,
movies,
yeah.
and
Watch some hockey.
all these little video game machines will be around. I got what else? I got Operation. I got Connect Four. I got a vintage hockey game. Like I think I showed it to you before. It's from like the 50s or something, or when it was like as old as I think when my dad was a kid, right? So I picked that up as well, and I'm going to fix that up for down there. And I have all the old classic systems. I showed that on one of my intro videos, which was really really cool. Yeah, so I've been really really renovating down there, and I don't mind doing that. It's not too bad. Taylor moved in quick, so there were some corners that I had to cut. So it's been good to get back onto that and fix that up. And I can't wait to hang out down there. I'll do some shots from down there when I'm officially moved in. Yeah, and I also just wanted to mention off the hop here that I have some live dates coming up. I think I mentioned to you. I mentioned to you that I'm doing the old man comic book crawl as my tour. Have I discussed this with you? Because I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. I've been in the Middle
Okay,
East,
so this is
dying
this
from
is
food poisoning.
no, I know, right? This is the old man comic book crawl that I'm doing. So I'm basically doing. Yeah, here we go. I'm doing well. It looks like I'm doing two a month. That's pretty good because I thought I was only gonna be doing one. So coming up like this February 18th, I'm down at Nexus. And
Yeah.
the first one is an in-store, and they're also releasing a whole lot of Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer stuff. It's like when they release the new issue. Hey, these are the new GM card line for the year. They're
Yeah.
doing the same thing down at Nexus, but with Warhammer and with Dragon or Dungeons and Dragons, right? So I'm going to be down there for from like 12 till 2 while this is going on. My own booth there. Meet me, talk to me, hang out with me, take me out, smoke one with me, buy me a beer, maybe some lunch.
Right.
That'd be great. I'm gonna have my comic books there, as you can see. I'm gonna have lots of artwork, and I'm gonna have some limited edition. I'll show these next week. Drawings that I'm doing of retro Dungeons and Dragons covers that I've reimagined. So there's three of them. So they're kind of like these really old style 80s Dungeons and Dragons drawings that are legendary, and I've redone them in the dark kind of dark ink style that I like to use, the creepy style. So that's the first one, and then of course the following week it's the workshop that I do for the Captain Underpants and such. So remember the classic
Yeah, yeah.
the art that they like me to teach there. So
They
I
look
do that
through
the
there.
following,
Yeah.
and that's free if you're here in Kingston or you're visiting. That's on Sunday. What is that? Why that is 26th. Yeah, Sunday the 26th. And if you're in Kingston, it's free. It's from 12 till 2. I get paid, so don't worry about my time. But the event is free. Well, so some of the parents are actually concerned. It's really funny. So, and then after that, I'll be doing SBT. I'm doing a free seminar and then an in-store, which I'll be talking about how to make a comic book, going through all the steps. That's free as well. So if you're in Kingston, please, come by for that or bring your kids by. March break too. First part of March break, Brad. So what a great thing for the kids to do, right? Come out and hear
They
a free
always need something to
seminar.
do. But
Yeah, come,
you guys can toboggan there. You get all the snow. So
well, you never know. It's melting now, my friend. But here's the thing: is they come to this in-store, and I tell them about comic books free and how to make them the exact way. You're starting your March break with your kids this way. So what a creative and fun March break your kids are going to have creating comic books. So that is March 13th. Now, after this one, this is where I'm going to kind of go back to my old stomping grounds, Deadly Grounds, but this is just kind of in the Schwa area, okay? But instead of bringing my guitar with me, I'm going to bring my stack of comic books. So I'm going to Deadly Grounds Coffee, which is amazing. I believe it's in uh, Bowmanville.
Is it Bowmanville or the
Curtis,
Schwa?
Curtis.
Oh, it's
It's
Curtis.
yeah, but it's
Yeah,
that's right in there, right?
yeah, yeah.
So I'll be there at Deadly Grounds Coffee. I don't know if you've seen like we know our friend Brent Fitz loves Deadly Ground Coffee,
I
right?
know. I've never
Yeah.
been there because I just never get to. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I went through Curtis
Oh, it looks
was.
amazing,
You know
dude.
what
You
I
should
mean?
see this place. It's just like
Yeah.
walking into this horror thing. So I'm going to be there for 2 hours on the 18th. I believe Saturday, March 18th. I'll be back there, and I'll be bringing my comic books, my artwork, and I'm looking forward to seeing so many old friends. There's a lot of people that already said they were stoked to come and see me there, and I haven't even put the ads out yet. So that's going to be a fun one. So I'll be back in the Schwa area. Again, not bringing my guitar, man. I'll be bringing my comic books and such and my artwork, and I'm looking forward to seeing some old friends on that. So what do you think of that, dude? Look, I
I
got
think
two,
that's gonna be
two.
rad. Oh man. I mean, here's the thing. The thing I love about what's going on with you is that number one. Let's talk about opportunity.
Right.
So this is a great opportunity. Like these have just been amazing that you're getting a chance to do these in stores all the time. Because I
Hmm.
mean, we could never get that as a band. It was like we're going to
Right.
like this is like you're offering a service which is uh
There's a million
it's
bands, though, right, my friend? There's a
there's a
million
million
bands.
bands, and it's like, hey, can our band come in and play your store? It's like, but hey, I'm a comic book artist, and but you got a relationship with everybody, so it's
Mhm.
so great to be able to set those up and do it. And as I said before about the commissions and stuff that you're doing,
Yes.
I mean that stuff just needs to be seen, and
Yeah.
and when people, I think when people see them in person and stuff, like, oh my God, that's you, and I don't know about you, but if I always almost buy something from an artist or somebody that like
It's rad, and you feel like
if
you're
they're in
supporting them,
store, you
right?
feel like you're supporting them.
Yeah.
So I think they're great. Especially it's grassroots on the ground
Hmm.
in the trenches, getting
And
that
it's
out
better
there.
than like people are asking just for money. Just give me money so I can do my stuff. You know what I mean? It's like no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually talk to you, and I'm gonna give you, and I'm not gonna charge you tax for this stuff either. It's included.
I think it's just it's a great way to well it's just it's ground level you know marketing
It's
and
indie comic books,
it's
and
indie
I'm.
comic books, it's face to face, you have a
Hmm.
relationship. A funny thing, we have I'm seeing all the advertisements for Fan Expo Vancouver
Hmm.
that's coming up here
That's exciting.
shortly, and I think I'm
Yeah.
going to be home for it, which is
Oh,
great because
that's brilliant.
thought I was going to miss it.
Hmm.
And they got a pretty good lineup here, which is awesome. But I've taken the kids. It's been down for a couple of years,
Hmm.
but for 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row, I took the kids, and there's an artist there, a girl that
Hmm.
draws these pictures that are really really cool, like they're kind of elf style, like elven style, like she draws these like
Nice.
really cool things, and Samantha loves them,
Oh,
and
that's
she
great.
goes and she signs them every year for her, and she's got like a series of two or three going, and that's something that like when I took them for a couple of years, it was like, whoa, like this is like the coolest thing, like like she remembers her or whatever, and so it's just a
Hmm.
relationship that, so I'm stoked to do that again, you know what I mean,
It's
and kind of
fun.
have that,
It's so much like playing in a band, but like the opposite at the same time, dude. As I say, I always mention this to you. Is like I really feel so much more accepted into the comic book crowd, the pop culture crowd. The music was so tough. You always had to be a different person. Oh,
I
there's
know.
that buzz
I've
again.
got a. That's just
Oh,
the phone, Lonnie.
that's your
But
texting.
yeah, because I got a picture here that I'm gonna show. That you had sent. Uh, you had sent some artwork for the kids,
Hmm.
and it's very very cool. I'm just gonna. I'll have to
Yeah.
upload it in a
No,
minute. So,
that's cool.
but
Yeah.
we'll get to it. But it's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. That you get that grassroots, and when you sent a redo, like a reimagining of a Stranger Things poster, and some like
Hmm.
when the kids got it, it was just like, whoa, like
Cool.
he did that for us, like it's just a thing, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
just the
cool.
cool, it's the coolest thing. So grassroots, go support Chris Machete. That's why this whole show is so important. The live from Machete Comics at this phase of what taking it from one into this now, it's so important that we feature all the stuff that Chris is doing, all the commissions and all the different things. And I'm going to show a picture of some stuff that he did for my kids. You can see the smile on their faces from it, and that's what you know, I really want to see out of this thing is just an explosion out of Machete Comics, the
Cool.
studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about some rad stuff too, because I want to.
Absolutely.
I love. But you know what I like also as much as conspiracy theories, and we don't have the graphic for it, but I like hockey.
Oh,
I'm a I'm
I
a
like
young
a good.
Canadian guy who likes his hockey.
I like a good hockey, and I've been in a land of cricket and rugby for
Ooh.
2.5 weeks. I was going into all the bookstores and just poking around at some rad bookstores, and they have a sports section, and it's tennis and basketball, and of course, there's not going to be hockey in Saudi Arabia or the Middle East.
That'd be
I
rad
was
if it
like,
was.
oh, I really want to. I'd like to, be able to see something, and so I've been missing it like crazy. So,
Right.
Leafland, what's been going on in Leafland? Because I got some Canucks news, but go
Yeah.
ahead. On
Well,
Leafland.
well, it's the big time where they're thinking, do we trade off Nyes? Do we get rid of some draft picks here to get somebody for the now? Do we go all in? And man, I think I would love to see, like, if I was to pick somebody for them to get, or a style of player, definitely, it would be a
Yeah.
power forward. I would think that I don't think they need Patrick Kane as much as say they need Jonathan Tays. If I was to go between the two of them, so let's just say that you're not losing. Well, you're going to lose a draft pick. You know what I mean? And maybe you can just throw in Murray or something, right? Or give them something like a player who's not going to be able to play. Like I can't think. There's what's his name there, who from Woodstock, Ontario, who I don't know if he's coming back, right? The defenseman.
Kerfoot?
No, not Kerfoot. Well, they could throw Kerfoot in there for sure as well, and that's 3.5, right?
Yeah.
But I think if they got somebody who was, and then you put Tays on the third line center, man, and all of a sudden, you're dude, you play the first 2-3 lines and you got your game right there, right?
You know where Tays is going, buddy? Tays is going to Winnipeg.
Going to Winnipeg, right? Is that what you said?
I think he's going to Winnipeg.
Yeah, he's going home. Well, that's the thing, right? But I'm just saying, from a Leaf point of view, man, I don't know if Patrick Kane, because a lot of people are saying get Kane. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't enjoy having him on the team. That's great, but I don't know if that's really what it needs. Now, I don't know how much Leaf hockey have you been watching?
You know what they well, okay. I mean, anybody that's won 3 cups is going to be a valuable asset to the team regardless. So, I mean, yes, take them for sure. Would love to have them. But I mean, how much? Oh man, what is this team? This team, it has to start from the net out. Unfortunately, man. You can add all the centers and grit and all the things you got in the world that you want, but you got to stop something. And Vasilevsky's proved that the last. Vasilevsky hasn't lost 2 playoff games in a row. That's what you need. The Leafs haven't had a goaltender. When was the last time they had a goaltender? A real
Belfour,
solid, like a guy that you put in that you're like, no brainer.
Yeah.
And I mean, they got close. Campbell was kind of close. But he had some signs there, and then the Leafs just didn't score or give him any support. But like, man, I don't know what the fix is there. It's so much. You know what, dude? It's so much easier to fix a broken team like Vancouver. Because you can go gone, start, and it's already started. But like,
We're so close. Well, this is the part where you need somebody really smart behind the scenes, running the team, who knows what the team needs. Because his pay cut's way higher than yours and mine, right, my friend? So this is the thing. He should have the answers to this. But it's fun for us to go back and forth on it. But like as you mentioning, it's a tough decision to do that. Well, he's getting the pay that he should be able to do that. He should be able to find that missing piece to help everybody. Sammy's been playing well though. Samsonov back there, man.
Yeah, I had him in my pool last year. That guy's
well.
I had him in my pool last year, and he got me a lot of points. But again, is he the answer? I mean, sometimes you can get away with mediocre goaltending for 2 or 3 rounds if you've got solid defense and all the rest of it. So, I don't know. What do they need? I mean, they brought Simmons for grit. They had Spezza for heart. They had Thornton. They brought all these kind of older guys and things in to boost the team. And Spezza scores a goal, and everyone's like, "This is the best." And he drops the gloves, and it's like, "Great, you have heart." But we really, honestly, dude, if I'm being honest about what they're missing, they're missing their top guys doing something.
Right.
That's what they're missing. They need Austin Matthews and Marner to completely take over the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then everyone else falls into place. I haven't seen anybody do that. When the Canucks did that run in 2011 and they were hurting going into Nashville, Kessler's like, I got this. And he put them on his back and scored like 8 goals and knocked the shit out of everybody. I haven't seen anybody do that for Toronto. Since Wendell Clark, you knew something was going on, and I don't want to be one of those retro yelling,
especially with Wendell. That's the guy.
Yeah, yelling from the porch guys. But the thing is, man, it's like they've got the tools. This is like everyone says, this is the year. This is the year. The only way that's going to get proven is if Matthews lights it up, Marner lights it up, Nylander lights it up. Riley lights it up. Like these
Yeah,
guys, Giordano is not going to light it up, but he's going to be that staple that you
it'll be good.
have.
Hmm.
So man, I
Well,
don't know.
the thing they're better. The star players are much better, and Nylander's on fire. Whether he that's the thing is whether he follows through. But that's the thing. You have. I think the we've already the management has already bought into the four core, right? So there's nothing anybody can do about that. Either they're going to play up to par this year, or they're not. There's nothing. But adding that extra piece though, because I've seen also teams do that where they add like that extra piece, and it was like, damn, you know.
But you look at the
And
guys that
some of
have
them are
done that in
grit.
the past, though, right?
Mhm.
Like you look at the guys that did it in like Burroughs in
When O'Reilly,
Vancouver
well, when O'Reilly
and Riley.
went from
Yeah,
Buffalo to St. Louis, I believe they won the
yeah,
cup, didn't they?
totally.
Well,
And that
see,
was
he's
like,
a guy like, and he'll be available just before the playoffs start, right? So this is another guy I'm thinking of. He's another player that if he's healthy, I would love to see him on the third line, man. The other thing is
mm,
getting a stud on the defense, right? And of course, there's a few people available for that as well. I don't think adding somebody to the defense at this time is a really good idea because I think the defense is a part of the ice that where those guys got to know each other, where they're going to be. And sometimes when you throw somebody new into the mix, especially if they're a higher level player, I think that throws off the flow of what the defense are doing. Because no, I don't think you not necessarily need like more of a talented defenseman. You just need somebody to buy into the system that works well with what you have going on. Because if you bring in a new defenseman and he's not playing with the system, you're screwed. You know what I mean? Like then your goalie's left out to dry, and
yeah.
the forwards
I'm
aren't getting
always
the puck.
fascinated that I'm fascinated still that guys at that level
Yeah,
still need to be coached.
it's
And
funny, isn't it?
what I mean by that is like,
Well, they need
um,
structure. Everybody needs
yeah,
structure, man.
there's some structure, but I mean they've been playing forever, and I understand it's about matchups and things like
Hmm.
that, and going arrested. But to have like a defenseman just completely break down, and you're like, you've been playing for about 28 years,
Yeah.
and you're breaking down like it's just a very interesting thing to me that they all need to be coached still. So yeah,
Well, some of them are pretty young.
your big stud defenseman, I don't know. For me, when it comes to stuff like this, a puck moving defenseman that
Hmm.
can add offense, I think that's going to be, and I think you guys are going to actually, if I'm predicting something here, I
Hmm.
think that you guys are going to actually get Luke Shen from the Canucks.
I don't know. I don't know if that's going to do any good. He'll just be a reserve, I would think.
The guy's been great out here.
I'm just saying, I don't think he would be inserted into the lineup. He would just be kind of
Who
in reserve
knows?
if somebody got
There,
hurt.
it's a fire sale out here soon, my man. So
Right.
it's like,
Well, they got see the defense depth's pretty good right now. Actually, they got a couple guys are sitting that aren't too bad. You know.
mhm. I,
Um.
I really, my money this year is on the top guys doing it.
Right.
I'd love that. Bring a Taves in, sure. Bring O'Reilly in, sure. But let's see what these guys got. And then if they, let's just say, and I think I called it at the beginning of the year. I said I think this it has to be the year that the Leafs win the cup. This has to be it. But
Or get really close, right? Like
this is the
they
team.
got to get
You
close.
you got to do it now. So for me, I was like, yes, I'm calling it. I'm saying this is the year we're gonna see it, and that's me mostly just hoping.
Hmm.
Do they stack up defensively? Not
Yeah.
sure. Do they have the goaltending? Don't think so. But
Hmm.
anything happens. We got 2.5 for 3 weeks before the deadline.
Yep. Yeah.
So you're
We'll
going
see
to
what
see some
happens.
movement here. You're going to see some movement.
Yeah. We'll
We
see
just saw
how.
movement in Vancouver. Horvat went to the Islanders, signed a
Hmm.
big fucking deal today too.
And
Eight and a half.
Lou Amorello, what do you think of the deal? Oh, that's too long. That's too much money. What else do you want to know? He didn't like it at all, huh?
I mean, it's an interesting one, but that's just he played his way into that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not that guy that you're seeing. I mean, thankfully, I've got him in the pool, so he's great for me this year. But he's
Hmm.
mostly a 60-point guy. He's a great player, man. And I was kind of choked to see him go, and I was kind of choked that they picked Miller over him. But whatever. So,
Hmm.
but I think you're going to see Besser go. I think you're going to see who else? They're talking Demko,
Hmm.
which he's injured, but they're talking Demko, which I never thought I would have heard
Hmm.
go. The only core is Patterson and Hughes. That's the only two people that are untouchable. Everyone else,
Right.
including Miller, is gone. So if they get a good deal for him, so
New approach with Talkett behind the bench there and everything. So that's going to be a new way to go. We won't talk about Bruce. That's a whole other can of worms there.
man,
Poor
isn't that
guy.
going to be
But
interesting if he ends up in Toronto next year?
Wow, yeah, we'll see about that, right? Actually, yes, yeah, we'll see. There's so many ifs with the Leafs every year, buddy, because we all know that as long as a team makes the playoffs, they have a chance of winning the cup. And it looks like the Leafs are going to have to play lightning off the bat unless something happens. Now, you see, I don't know if you've noticed me, but Buffalo is in there now, right?
Yeah, and
Holy
they're
crap! Look
playing
at
real
them.
well too. That's Tage though, man. And I don't. I give them the award for nice try there, kids. I think they'll get in. They could
Hmm.
surprise us the way Florida did a couple years ago. I don't know,
Yeah.
but that Tage Thompson kid, my God, where the hell did he
Hmm.
come from?
Yeah. Well, they're one of those teams that the Leafs always have problems with, right? Buffalo, Florida, they always seem to have problems with for some reason. Like come in and it's like, oh, you got this game, and no, they don't. Well, historically, the Leafs and Buffalo had some really good matches, right? Some good games and such. But
Yeah, man.
it's just interesting to watch what's going on with the other teams because we're getting down there now. And of course, the last place team. I would hate to see what's the youngling coming in who's amazing there.
Oh, uh, the kid, Bedard.
Yeah, I would hate to see him go to like the Blue Jackets
He's
or
going Arizona, buddy.
no, Arizona's going up the list. They're getting some wins in right now. I was just looking at that. I could see him going to Chicago for some reason. For some reason, I think I'm going to predict he's going to Chicago. Calling
You
it.
think Chicago? Well, I mean, it's going to be about who has the
Calling
most
it.
balls.
Well, no,
Eh,
because they take the bottom four and then they do a draw. Is that how it works?
well, they get the yeah, it's the bottom of the 16. So 16 make the playoffs. Everyone else,
There's a draw
16.
for them or something. And
Yeah,
the
there's a
lower you are, the
draw,
more
and I think
chances you get.
your lowest four get the most, and the
Right.
last place team gets the most, and cycles down
Hmm.
from there. But it's rare that it's like no, the number one pick is like Toronto.
Hmm.
I think they've got it that the 16. I'd have to ask somebody, but there's something weird
Hmm.
about like the 16 that made the playoffs
Right.
are like one ball or something. It's a
Hmm.
very interesting dynamic, but
Yeah. You wonder
and
if
they're
it's
talking
fixed too. I don't
they're
trust anybody.
and I saw a really good thing. Just one more thing on the All Star weekend.
Right?
So I never watched it. I read about
I
it,
didn't either. Yeah. My
and
dad did.
everyone's like it's shit, it's garbage, blah blah blah. But
Hmm.
Dan O'Toole, who was on TSN before,
Hmm.
um, just did a tweet about what he would do to make changes.
Oh, right.
And man, was it ever cool!
Oh,
He
yeah.
he brought that because it's going to be in Toronto next year,
Hmm.
and he had some suggestions about, like if this happens, like every fan in a building wins like $5,000,
Wow.
like things like that, and you pick
Yeah.
a player. And it was the coolest thing, and it was like in that way you're like, everyone's engaged in the whole thing. It was really really cool. He had a great. I'm gonna find it here because it was a
Hmm.
really cool like breakdown of what he would suggest for in Toronto because everyone was complaining about how terrible it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because it's 3-on-3 and it's blah blah blah.
Yeah. There's some good plays
Um,
and stuff. The highlights were pretty neat, but that's all you really need to watch is the highlights, right? Dominic Hasek had a fit about Ovechkin bringing his kid there. Did you see that?
I didn't see
Jeez.
the fit. What did he fit?
Well,
What
just
was he
because of the
doing?
war, he thinks that all the Russians should be pulled, and he's been a real
Oh, there's a bit of that.
protagonist about
Yeah.
that. No, you should have seen him. He was like his article or his thing in the was pretty adamant, man. Thanks.
But I had heard that before, and I mean,
I'm just saying how vicious he. It wasn't like he didn't
he
mince
didn't go
words on
light.
anything.
He didn't go light
No,
on
it's
it.
like holy crap. Anyway, what do you got there, buddy? Oh,
I was just trying to find it here, but
okay.
I was just trying to find it. I'll come back to it, but it was really really cool. It
Yeah.
was about like engaging the fans. They pick a team, that they pick a player. You're engaged in like certain players, and
Mm-hmm. Is
and
your phone going off?
no, it's
Okay.
I got a bit of interference. But anyways, it was really really cool, and
Hmm.
the idea was that dude at the Sky Dome, and really engage like the fans, like in the skills competition, it's like fastest skater set it up like a sprint, like an Olympic sprint. Don't do the
Hmm.
circle and round. Do an Olympic sprint. If a player in the game scores 5 goals, everyone in a building wins $1,000. Shit like
Wow.
that, where it's like make it really really exciting. Yeah. So I don't know,
That would be cool. Like I like that. People online putting things in so that they could get money too. That'd be huge. That'd be huge.
dude.
That'd
It'd be
be really
great.
good.
So
All right, okay, so let's move on to our conspiracy theory / deep dive. So we'll roll our conspiracy theory.
all right, let's see it.
Yeah, I think you've seen this one. Creepy stuff. Love it. Love it. Okay, so we're diving into a movie here. One of my favorite guys in the universe, my idol, Stanley Kubrick did Eyes Wide Shut. Okay, this movie was the last movie he ever made. You can keep that there, Lonnie, if you could. Just sorry, I just want to. So this is Eyes Wide Shut. It was released in 1999, right before we were all going to die, and
That's right.
we actually did, unfortunately. But here's just what the write up for the movie is. It's a Manhattan doctor embarks on a bizarre night-long odyssey after his wife's admission of unfulfilled longing. Okay, so that's just, again, that's your straight up simple. You know how I love my plots, nice and simple, right, buddy?
Yeah.
That's just
yeah.
nice simple plot. It's really good. But is it a simple story? Oh my God, no, because Kubrick's a genius. So what he does is he takes, like, there's my idol right there, that guy, man. Oh my God, he was a genius. He was legitimately a genius, man. There's so many other things we could focus on, but we're going to focus on Eyes Wide Shut because what it's doing now is really resembling what's going on, or what we're hearing about what's going on in Hollywood and with the elite millionaires, the elite people with money around the world are getting together and doing some really, really creepy stuff. Am I right?
Illuminati.
Yeah, like Illuminati type stuff, right? You know, don't come and get me, guys. So there's so many interesting things that this movie now relates to that is coming to the surface. The one thing that I want to point out about this to start off, to get the ball rolling, this is super interesting. This originally was, and I heard this from one of the family members. It was on a TikTok video saying this movie is a documentary. It started off as a legit documentary. Took over 30 years to get made. It's not a documentary. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
I believe to Stanley Kubrick, this was a documentary. He tried this movie over 30 years ago. He wanted to get this movie going, and he always wanted to use two celebrities who were in the mainstream. So the first ones were Woody Allen and Mia Farrow. He wanted to originally use them, right? So he doesn't get the movie made. Time goes on, and then we're hit the next generation, and it's a Kirk Douglas, and what was his wife's name?
Zeta-Jones.
Catherine Zeta-Jones, right?
Oh,
so
Michael
there's our
Douglas.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Kirk Douglas is the younger
Kirk's
one.
his dad.
That's his dad.
Kirk's his dad.
Sorry, Michael Douglas. And yes, I did. I think I was talking about this with my folks, and I said the same thing, and they were just kind of looking at me like, "Oh, really?" Okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
that Kirk
folks.
guy,
So
yeah.
yeah, Catherine Zeta-Jones. So and then we get to the 90s, of course, and we have Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Now, so just talking about the actor and actress here, Tom Cruise at this time, we all know, was just getting his feet, he's pretty into Scientology at this time. Now, my big question about this was, why did they want him to do it, and would they let him, and was there even a discussion? So I researched that a little bit more, and I found out that not only did Scientology want him to do this movie, after he finished the movie, that is when he hit his iconic status started his iconic status in Scientology. So doing this movie for somebody as legendary and great as Stanley Kubrick, and to have the subject matter kind of coincide with, people who are taking shots at Scientology, because a lot of the elite who aren't in Scientology are taking shots at them. And some of the people that aren't in there anymore are definitely elite people in Hollywood, in society. So I always wondered about that with Tom Cruise, and what a great choice to do that movie when you look back on it now, when you see how tight he is into something that people call a cult. Now, the thing about Nicole Kidman is her father, I don't know if you're aware of this, dude, but her father goes way back to getting into devil cults, and he was arrested. I think he had to leave Australia, dude, because he was so heavily involved in the occults and satanic stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, right. So she's involved in this movie as well. So this is just talking about the actors, the two main actors and actresses, and how Kubrick was like, targeting celebrities, and he had this in his mind from the beginning. It wasn't like, oh, you know what, let's just use celebrities. No, man, this was like from the beginning of when he originally was starting to do this movie. So a lot of the psychology behind what is going on is something that people talk about and is on the media streams every day. But when this movie came out, people were like, oh, right. Now, if this movie came out now today, people would be like, there it is. And if it was done by somebody like Coppola or Kubrick, if this was done today, people would be going, what the fuck? They would actually believe it, because we now know that the government's lied to us about aliens and many other things, right? The pyramids are starting to become to realization that it's actually the pyramids on top are new. It's what's below that's even older and it was built on top of, right? So we're starting to realize these things. So if this movie was released today, could you imagine the ripple effect it would have, dude, with the Epstein thing going on and everything? Like,
Wow, it is definitely, and I know this isn't a political show, and we don't get into that, but it is definitely an interesting subject matter because the fact that Epstein dies, Giselle has been arrested, but nothing is coming out.
yeah,
I mean
Epstein dies.
right, but there's this whole thing about you know like I don't go too far on how do I explain it? Do I
Hmm.
like I know you're a big Corey Feldman guy.
Hmm.
He's got a whole thing about Hollywood and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Now the QAnon side is all the way. They're like it's Tom Hanks and it's all these people and they're eating
Charlie
babies.
Sheen.
It's all this shit. It's like, all right, let's take a break for a minute. Tom Hanks isn't eating babies. All right, so let's just go with this for a second.
Hmm.
However, yes, I do think that there. I mean, there's gonna if the book ever comes out on all this shit. I
Hmm.
mean, there's a lot of people going down. I mean,
Hmm.
that Harvey thing was just the beginning, but
Hmm.
you've got Cosby. Obviously, people are like, how does this happen?
How scary is that?
You know,
People are like, people are shocked and they're angry. That I was scared. That's like, and then I start looking back at little Raven Simone, and I'm like, oh, you poor little,
well,
because it
some of this
wasn't
stuff
kids
comes,
though, right? But just
some of
being
this stuff
around that.
comes out now, which is very interesting. The fact that he fired Lisa Bonet for
Because she
doing
did Playboy,
she
right?
did a nudity in a movie, and he canned her, and then
Oh, right, it was a
everyone's kind of
movie.
going the other way, going, well, maybe she just didn't accept his advances.
Or maybe, yeah,
There's a
who
part of that
knows,
too,
right?
because whatever, man. Like
Yeah. Well,
it's
this is what I
so
was saying to you about this movie because you mentioned you haven't seen the movie,
I haven't
and it's
actually
like,
seen it.
no,
I can't believe
my
it, but
point is
yeah,
that it doesn't matter
yeah.
because every other element of this movie springboards to so many things that are happening now.
Mm-hmm.
How, and now I'm going to keep going back to the point that Stanley Kubrick was a friggin' genius. How ahead of his time? Dude, he wanted to do this over 30 years ago. How ahead of his time was he to release that? Now, he did Space Odyssey. Now here's how I compare Space Odyssey. It is better graphically and special effect wise than not A New Hope, not Empire Strikes Back, but Return of the Jedi. How is that better than Return of the Jedi?
Mm. I the thing about Kubrick, and I'm always curious. I do believe that there is a there. I don't know Illuminati. I do believe that there's this other side of the fence that knows everything that's going on, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, I'm just going to make everything. And some of them have the balls to do it, like Kubrick, and some of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it's always funny, like when Ricky Gervais hosts the Golden Globes, because he's like,
Lonnie
Epstein's
was
your friend.
mentioning that.
Epstein's your friend. Don't fucking laugh at me.
Just
You
tell
all
that story.
pretend. You all
Tell that
protected
story.
him.
Tell that story because that's
Well,
fantastic. Oh,
yeah,
you can
because
play it. Lonnie's gonna find it. Lonnie's gonna
yeah,
find
you
it. Keep
find it. But
going.
it's just basically the whole bit. I think Lonnie. I think it was the last time he hosted.
She was just watching it, dude. She'll
Yeah,
find
because
it.
it
Yeah.
was the last time he hosted. But he really goes on about, um, about hey, I'm here, and I told him, be ready. I'm gonna fucking go at everybody, and he's always
Mm-hmm.
done that, and
Yeah.
whatever. Um, but that was when it comes to the Epstein thing, and he really didn't hold back. He was like, you
No.
guys, he's your friend,
Yeah.
and that's why it's funny to me because I know I don't want to be off topic, but
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. This is
keeping with
basically.
the eyes wide shut thing. If you
I'm
go
gonna
to
bring what you say right back into the movie, buddy. Watch
if you
it.
go
Go
to
for
like
it.
the Harry and Meghan thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's going on about the Harry and Meghan fiasco, and she's just a gold digger, and she's just in that, and he
Right.
wants to get out because of he thinks the paparazzi in essence killed his mom, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's so fucking focused on those two
Mm-hmm.
and not focusing on Andrew,
Yeah.
who's on Epstein Island.
Yes. Okay. Here we go, buddy. Yeah. There we go. This is hilarious.
Thank you.
We can
Hello
talk over
and
it.
welcome to the 77th Annual Golden Globe
Can you maximize
Awards,
that, Lonnie?
live from the Beverly Hilton Hotel here in Los Angeles. I'm Ricky Gervais. Thank you. You'll be pleased to know this is the last time I'm hosting these awards, so I don't care anymore. I'm joking. I never did. NBC clearly don't care either. Fifth time. So, I mean, Kevin Hart was fired from the Oscars because of some offensive tweets. Hello?
This whole monologue is
for me,
amazing.
the Hollywood can barely speak English.
It's about 9 minutes.
It's okay.
They know what Twitter is. So,
Lonnie, can you maximize the whole screen of that?
So, bang. Let's have a laugh at your expense, shall we? Remember, we're all going to die soon, and there's no sequel. So, yeah, remember that.
His bit
but
about
you all look lovely,
his bit
all
on
dolled up. You
Colbert
came here
about
in your limos.
atheism
I
is
came
great.
here. The license plate was made by Felicity Huffman. So, no, shush. It's
Look at Tom Hanks getting upset.
I feel sorry for.
Nicole Kidman in the
That must
background.
be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to her. It was in Wild Hogs. So, lots of tonight. I mean, legends, icons. Yeah, look, at this table alone, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, but. Baby Yoda. Oh, that's Joe Pesci. Sorry. I love you, man.
Pesci wasn't there though.
But tonight isn't just about the people in front of the camera. In this room are some of the most important TV and film executives in the world. People from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow. He's
the guy who wrote the whole thing.
Look
at these guys.
Talking of all you perverts, it was a big year. It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, Two Popes. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. Many colour was snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood are all very, very racist. So, fifth time. So,
this is great.
We were going to do an in memoriam this year, but when list of people that had died, it wasn't diverse. It just it was mostly white people, and nah, not on my watch. So yeah, let's see what happens. No one cares about movies anymore. No cinema. No one really watches network TV. Everyone's watching Netflix. This show should just be me coming out going, well done, Netflix, you win everything. Good night. But no.
Is it close to the
got to drag it out for 3 hours.
I think it's...
You could binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. That's
his
a
show.
show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife dies of cancer. And it's stillness, okay? Spoiler alert. Season 2 is on the way, so in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, here we
Shut
go.
up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care. You had to make your own way here in your own plane. Right, but seriously, most films are awful, lazy.
There you go.
There you go. That was brilliant.
Sequel. I heard a rumor there might be a sequel to So.
Yeah, I like that.
Like he didn't hold back, and the thing is that you know, they're like everybody else. Like I'm like, why that list has got to come out.
Yeah,
like,
it will.
It's got to come out.
No, it will. So check this out. Okay, so I'm going to bounce what you thought was out of the realm of the movie kind of back in.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Nicole Kidman. Her name's Alice in Wonderland kind of thing, right?
Sure.
Right from the beginning, dude. She drops her clothes and she's naked looking in the mirror. She's always looking at herself. She's making out with her husband. She's looking in the mirror at herself. She is groomed to make sure that she looks perfect. People, everybody says, you look beautiful. Man, you look so beautiful. You look gorgeous. And there's one time that she freaks out and kind of breaks character. And that's when she smokes weed. And it's so wild because all of a sudden she's standing, she's getting stoned, and you can see her just kind of going, whoa, whoa. You treat me like this. You just treat me like a couple holes. Right. And she starts going on. So the pot is this is my theory. Okay. This is me. Yeah. This. So the pot is breaking her grooming. And she's thinking for herself. It's the only time she ever does this. Throughout the rest of the movie, she's just basically like, yes, honey, you coming home whenever? Oh, you got to stay till 4. That's great. This time when she's stoned, she's just freaking him out. And then I had this dream about a guy. I really wanted to be with this dude, and I wanted to yada yada. So the marijuana, the pot, the cannabis was breaking her grooming, which is one amazing scene in there. And you don't really think about it. You just think she's reacting to the pot. But no, if you put it into place with everything. Now, further on down the line, Alice, Tom Cruise's wife, is teaching the daughter about math. And it's Joe has 250. Frank has 850. Who has more money and what is the difference between the two? Right? Can you show that clip?
Yeah.
Okay, check this out, dude. Jen, just little.
We have Joe. Joe has $2.50. And Mike has $1.75. Joe has how much more money than Mike?
175.
So is it going to be a subtraction or an addition?
That was perfect. Just, so there's a million of those little things that show the grooming of Hollywood. Now there's a girl that dies as well. I'm just going to bounce around to a few things that are on the subject of female grooming for Hollywood. Now there's all these. There's a load of prostitutes in the movie, high-end prostitutes who want to be actresses. Okay,
Right.
One of them dies, and Tom Cruise finds the write-up about this girl that he knows who dies mysteriously. I don't want to ruin the whole plot of the movie. I'm going to just pick on some spots because the movie's so huge that I'm really not going to ruin it for you. Okay.
Sure. I mean, I've seen bits, and I'm
That's-
well aware of it. I just never actually
Yeah.
dove in and committed to 2 hours.
Right. So Tom Cruise finds this article about the girl dying, and he's reading it. And if you freeze frame on there, the whole story is about how this young girl, her sister says she wanted to go to Hollywood because she wanted to expand on her connections and wanted to, she had an opportunity. She wanted to jump at this opportunity. And this opportunity was to jump into to be serviced by this cult, right? By whatever this group of people were. And she ends up dying. So if you read it, it explains the female grooming even more. Now at the very end of the movie, not really, this is just another small thing. If you watch, there's two old guys in a toy store, all right? And they're shopping by Tom Cruise's and Alice's little girl. Bill is Tom Cruise's character's name. So Bill and Alice, they're little girls kind of just looking at the toys. And there's these two old guys. And she looks back at them. The old guys look at the little girl, and they walk off together. And it's just and if, I don't have it on here, but the two gentlemen are in the very beginning of the movie at the party. These old dudes, and
Right.
it's just like, wait a minute, did they just take her? Because she looks back at them and they nod, and then she leaves with the dude. It's like a million little things on grooming women for Hollywood that is so sad. Like I'm not saying it's a great movie because they're showing that. I'm saying that it's a great movie because they're exposing it. And what a brilliant man he was to do this. Who knows why he didn't do it until now? Maybe he knew that I'm sure he knew this was his last film, right? I'm sure he knew.
Well,
that.
coming. Let's remember though too that there's been a lot of people. Roman Polanski, got in trouble for being with a young lady on American soil and got banned, and basically was still making films overseas, but wasn't allowed back on American soil. And Hollywood actors were making films with him, being like, whatever.
Woody Allen.
Yeah, and Woody
Woody
Allen's
Allen.
the same thing. And there's a whole bit there of people that are like either for Woody
right?
or not. So they're like, this is this is bullshit and blah blah blah. And then there's other people on the Polanski side that are like, whatever. And it's very interesting. Kubrick just didn't seem to like. I mean, this movie would have had to go through a substantial amount of approvals to come out.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so now here's what I want to talk about next. Okay, there's so much I want to talk about on here with this. So let's look back. Kubrick, for some reason, after he did 2001: Space Odyssey, or with that movie on, he got carte blanche with the company. Man, he could do whatever he wanted to. Now, here's an example. There's a gentleman talking on it behind the scenes. They're behind the scenes doing The Shining, and they're talking to one of the guys there. And he says, "Yeah, look at these guys out. There's these guys out in this great big truck sitting out in the snow, right?" And they're showing them out there, and they go to Kubrick. They go, "Well, who are those guys out there? Are they from the movie company? Are they coming in?" No. What do you mean they're not allowed to come out of their vehicle? They wanted to check, see how I was doing, and that's as far I said you can come, stay in your vehicle. That's as far as you're going to go. Nobody could touch his movies. This is the first one that got edited, and apparently 20 minutes was taken out. Now there's conflicting reports on whether he did show the last edit or it was one that he showed because he was being pressured to show, and he still had 20 minutes to get rid of himself. That is one of the big things that is up in the air about his death. He died 6 days after he screened, apparently, the final cut. We don't know if this is
Eyes
that.
Wide
That's
Shut.
yeah. See, that's. Oh, sorry, I jumped from that. Yeah, so that's the rumor about his death there, which is really really strange. So the companies wouldn't touch his movies, but they touched this one. You know, like they weren't. That was the deal. They were not allowed to touch his movies, but they did edit this one. Now, some of the rumors go that when he was screening it, they took him aside immediately after and said, "Hey, man, you have to cut this, and this out." And he was pissed. And there's other reports that don't say that. They say that, and I've researched this, and I'm hearing two different sides. I'm hearing gentlemen say that, and this seems like reliable sources, that no, he showed it to them, and there was some concern about things, and he says, and Stanley was like, "Oh yeah, well, I still got 15 minutes to cut or so." So this guy said there might have been 5 minutes that he wasn't aware of.
Right.
And then there's other reports that say, that there was a whole half hour taken out, and the movie company says it was because of nudity, which can't be true because there's already a crap load of nudity. That's the one thing that every scene has a sexual innuendo or some kind of sex in it. It's funny because, and I asked I recommended my folks watch it there last night.
You made them watch it?
I didn't make them. I recommended they watch it.
Gracious, Gary. Dangerous Dorothy.
So there, it was funny. The look on my mom's face was, so what'd you think of it? Because she just loves little tiny Tom Cruise, right? As I was mentioning, and I was like, how'd you like it? And she's just kind of like, oh, I don't know. Didn't Tom Cruise do a great job? Well, it's a freaky movie, dude. You haven't seen it yet. After you watch it, and then picture my parents watching it, and you're like, oh, okay, I get you now. Because it's.
I've heard all about it.
No, you have to watch it. Dude, you have to watch. And this music, you got the music part? Okay, check this out, dude. This is brilliant. I love this movie. It's great. If it was released today, it would be unreal. Anytime. That was close. That was my wife on the trigger finger there.
There we go.
So that was just before I was talking through it then. I didn't know we were muted on that part. But what's going on there is those are the girls that are the actresses coming up, and the prostitutes that are coming up to be actresses, and they're about to be paired off to one of the elite around them.
One of the elite around them, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, dude. And how about that
I'm
music,
sure that
though?
happens, man. I'm sure that.
How about that music? I was like, that music was horrifying. I think she felt bad for Tiny Tom Cruise. I really do.
I just pictured Dangerous Dorothy with the Home Alone face after this movie.
I bet she's doing it right now. She's listening to us talk about it. And those girls are about to drop their drawers.
Hide your eyes, Dorothy.
Right?
Hide your eyes.
There we go. So we kind of went off on examining the segment of, the Epstein angle, the whole grooming women who are coming in from. And I've mentioned you before we went on air. I can't help but notice that a lot of these female rappers coming up are strippers, Not that I'm not looking down on that profession by any means, but it's with everything we're hearing.
I think it's a new time. Hollywood goes through this sort of like, whatever. Yeah. The L.A. Confidential. You remember L.A. Confidential? Actually, go back to that movie, L.A. Confidential.
Right.
That's a great actual example because
Yeah.
that was prostitutes that had plastic surgery done to make them look like Hollywood stars.
Right. Right.
Right. And they were like, someone wanted like Greta Garbo, so someone wanted Ava Gardner. They would just find a, woman. And there's a scene where a prostitute has passed and the mother comes in and she goes, I think that's her, but I can't, she's had, I can't recognize her. She's got a mole on her hip. And then they see the mole and she realizes it's her. So, I mean, LA Confidential is an amazing movie for this because it was really about the rags. It was about the tabloids setting up guys that were killed, because they knew too much. I mean, you should rewatch LA Confidential.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
You
I've
should,
got time
because
for
it
that.
really touches on it. Now that you've been on this side, watch that side now, which was like the corruption of the police working with Hollywood.
Oh
at the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And I
See,
think
I have seen that movie. I don't remember it all. I bet
Check
once
it
I
out again.
started, or like, oh yeah.
check
Do
it
you
out
ever
again.
do that?
It's
You ever do that?
amazing.
You think you forget a movie in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I don't know.
But it's one of those ones that's when it's on, it's like, all right, I guess I'm in.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah, for
and
sure.
but that's just that's a whole thing.
Yeah. Well, check this out, dude. I heard this great little interview with Noel Gallagher, and he says that you don't see rock bands anymore because the labels can't control them. I think I was talking about this off air.
Could they ever control them?
What, the rock bands? No, no. That's why you don't see them anymore. Is because you can't control them, but you can control like these girls that you're grooming and bringing up because you just keep feeding them the gold and whatever, and it's one person. You know what I mean? And like a perfect example is who's your daughter love there? What's that dude there?
Harry Styles.
Look at that. They pulled him out of that band and he'll do whatever they tell him. You think he's arguing with anything they're asking him to do, Brent? And do you think he's partying? Nah, dude, he's not. He's under control. You get like those young Sub 41 bastards in there, something like that, and they're causing shit. They're paying, like they can't. But this was Noel Gallagher saying that, and it made a lot of sense to me, man. It made a lot with the control, with everything you see going on, right? It is.
It's a new time.
I really feel they're grooming a lot of these stars as well. Like we could go on to that other MK Ultra, which is a great one to go on with celebrities because a lot of them are getting caught. The one basketball player there, Shaq. I don't know how many clips of him just going, like just freezing, and the guys are going, well, we better move over here now. Like it's just something he does. You know what I mean? Does he have a serious?
The problem is with a lot of this stuff. It's like when Trump got in, he's like, I'm releasing all the alien stuff, and he didn't because it's like, even Tom DeLonge went really hard on left Blink 182 to go really hard on the alien stuff, and
they did admit they're there. They did admit.
They did admit it, but they only got so far.
Yeah.
And I think that with all of this stuff, it's always only going to get so far because Giselle, the fact that none of that stuff has come out, the list hasn't come out, and the fact that fully
the list has come out?
Yeah. Like I know who's on the people that were on the plane, but that doesn't necessarily count because they could have been just chartering that plane to go somewhere else as well. I'm talking about physically, like we know Andrew was there. We know that
well, they got pictures of a lot of people, but the list is the thing, right?
And that actual list where guys are going to get indicted and guys are going to go to prison and stuff. That list, I don't believe has been released.
Yeah, I saw it on YouTube.
I don't know. Well, that's okay. We'll look for that. We don't have that much time.
I feel like we would hear quite a lot because there was a lot of people that like Tom Hanks was on that plane. It's like, well, Tom Hanks might. I'm not defending him. I'm saying, but Tom Hanks might have been either out there or he might have actually just been on that plane that was chartered.
Well, the other thing too I was mentioning is that one of the things that he was doing was inviting people out on the island to get photos of them, so they were there, so that they wouldn't say anything. What's the dude in the wheelchair? He was out there.
Rick Hansen?
No. Stephen Hawking.
Right.
Stephen Hawking was out there, right? No, I'm just saying like there's a lot of people that were out there for the wrong reasons, and I think a lot of people that were just out there that
there's a lot of
well, Courtney loves a piece of crap anyway. She's
the underbelly of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And just all of it is, if you get caught, if you go so far down there, it's going to be a hard rabbit hole to get out.
Yeah, there's a new kid. Well, not a new kid. He's Orlando. Not Orlando Bloom. Orlando. He's from. What's her? We were just talking about her there from the Cosby Show. She has her own show. She was doing
Orlando Brown.
Orlando Brown. All right. No, he was with what's her name there?
Lisa Bonet, Tempest Bledsoe.
No, yeah, Tempest Bledsoe.
Raven.
Simone. She was on that. Okay. He was on that Raven show, right? Young dude there. And he is now running around screaming that Will Smith did him. Like he's doing TikTok videos and then they're being taken down. And he has this thing that he talks about in detail of what to look for when this happens.
And
I don't want to go into detail because that's pretty bad. Okay. So what I'm saying though is if you want to get any more information on Will Smith, check out this guy. And there's another lady that's saying that younglings have been screaming, running from their house who were supposed to be, they were mentoring them. So there's a lot of things coming out on the elite right now, which is, and a lot of them seem to be people who have suffered by them and don't really have a reason to make, like, you think they would make up something a little more accessible than like, Will Smith. I don't know, but he had a few other people, and it's a huge thing, but not to bum you out on the movie because the movie is really, really great, and it makes you think about all these conspiracy theories. We just went down one part because Tom Cruise goes off on this. He gets freaked out, right? As I mentioned in the thing here, what I mentioned, isn't even in like the title or the description of the movie, right?
I wish.
It's okay, I'm a doctor. And throughout the movie, he's flipping his badge is I'm a doctor. And that's how he gets in and gets his way with anybody.
Yeah.
I
want this guy, I want Cruise to take more risk like this.
I don't know if you're going to see that anymore.
I like risky Tom. I mean, he was in what was that one? Marigold. He was great in that. What else is the other one? Where, I don't know. Where are you on Cruise?
Oh, well, this is what I was saying with John last time. Is I just think of him as tiny Tom Cruise, who did those great movies I grew up on. I don't.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Like I mean,
I know.
I mean, does anyone get more of a pass than Tom? I mean, he really had a hard time battling back from the couch thing, but everything he's put out since then, the Jack Reacher thing didn't go very well, and he did.
I'm going off like The Outsiders and Risky Business,
but like the stuff that like he did take a risk on, like Interview with the Vampire was great. All these things that he actually took a risk on and kind of went for is some of the favorite stuff that he's done. I love the story. I read Seth Rogen's book, and he's got a great story about Tom wanted to do comedy.
Yeah.
So he called Seth Rogen and Judd Apatow up to the house, and he was like, "I want to do comedy, and I want you guys to like write something for me." But before we did into that, and then he kind of cornered them into having a Scientology conversation.
Ooh.
And Seth, you can just picture Seth like, well, okay, let's listen. And they were all they were kind of freaked out by it a little bit because he was like full alpha Tom, but like in that they're like, when Tom's talking to you, you just want to do anything Tom tells you. It's like it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. But
well, it's cool. If you look at it this way too, going back to Eyes Wide Shut, and I was talking with John last week about, I was really curious how Scientology let him do this movie, and then the more I read about it, the more I thought about it, is of course they let him do this. Scientology is kind of the you got your, say, Illuminati or elite, and then you got Scientology. They're not together. They're two totals. So the more one looks bad, the more the other one's kind of just doing what they want to do, right? So the more I looked into Tom Cruise doing the movie, the more it made more sense. Now, another thing that made me like Tom Cruise a bit was when you see interviews with him about Stanley Kubrick. He's so genuine, and just his love for him was really genuine. And I could see that because I've seen Stanley Kubrick work with people, and just being around somebody who is that brilliant and thinks that much outside of the box with projects and art that I enjoy so much, I can see Tom just like in awe of that. He wasn't complaining about any of these shoots that were being over and over done, and just his sadness when we found out he was dead. Tom, he paused for a few seconds there, like he wants to say something, but he doesn't, and he's not sure, and it's like, and the fact that that was the last thing that elevated him in Scientology, man, that was pretty wild.
Yeah, and it's an interesting, and then you've got the people trying to get out of it, and really, Leah Remini and stuff.
She does that show about it. Yeah, she's another one that could say anything to me and I'd believe her, right? Like,
it's a very interesting. It's like any kind of thing, but he's the face of it, and that's kind of where it's at. And it's funny how it all came to get about because he was like a hockey playing half Canadian kid that grew up in Ottawa and spent some time in Pennsylvania, and then went out with Mimi Rogers, and all of a sudden is a Scientologist. And if he didn't go out with Mimi Rogers, we wouldn't have Scientology Tom.
That's wild.
We wouldn't have Scientology Tom. And I think they met on either Risky Business or what was the other one that they did at the time? There was another one that he did. kind of around risky business that was sort of the same. And she was in it with him, and I think they dated or even got married.
Oh, okay.
And she was a Scientologist and started this whole thing.
Right.
But you can see it anywhere. I mean, right downtown Vancouver, the Church of Scientology is right there, and it's very
That's
interesting.
wild. I'm surprised you haven't jumped in there and seen what the diggy is.
Well, I walked in and took a look at it because you walk around and look at it, but I'm not on that. It's funny because the ancient alien side of things, which
It's very interesting.
I
love it,
support more than anything because of just, remember you telling me about it originally, and the more I dove into it. But when I talk to people about it, and I never do from a standpoint of like, well, this is where I'm at. But when I talk to people about it, they're like, Scientology? I'm like, no, it's not Scientology.
Yeah.
Because Scientology, they believe they're a vessel. They're not even human.
Oh yeah, it
They're
was a big
just-
If they think
it's a whole thing.
Scientology and
This is
that's
another
totally
thing.
different.
So I always try to make sure that I defend it too.
I would love to walk into the Scientology church and just have them try and turn me and see what that's about. I'd have to have Lonnie say that if I'm not out in an hour, man, come in there screaming, right?
There's a whole bit in there, but yeah, it's pretty.
I'd
pretty
be down
awesome.
with
You
that.
can't afford it.
I think it'd be funny. No,
You have
but
to sign a lifetime contract.
well, I wouldn't sign anything. I'm just saying I would like to see what they would say to me. I think it would be really funny.
That Sea Org. You
I think
have
that'd be
a
pretty
ship
funny.
called the Sea Org, and then you get $50 a week to work on it.
That's great.
I don't know. You're either on team Tom or you're not. And
I guess so.
There's no denying. Like, I mean, no matter what that guy does,
Mm-hmm.
he pretty much just prints money because
Yeah.
the last Mission Impossible might be the single greatest action movie I've ever seen.
Oh, I thought you did really well with the Maverick.
Yeah.
The
Well,
new
he's a
one
great.
too.
He's a great
And I'm
actor,
just like,
man.
this is. I left Fallout going. That's the greatest action movie I've ever seen, and not
Nice.
cheesy action. Like
Yeah.
we all like a good Tango and Cash. I'm talking like this is like fuck
Mhm.
me, like this is crazy. So
Yeah.
and he's now got a new one, and they got another one. I did find that. I guess we got to go soon, but I did find
Yeah.
that two things. I want to show you one thing. There's a commission.
Oh, great! Look at that. Very nice. Ooh, yeah.
So
and
see
those paintings. I only have one left of that 5 set, and that's the
Yeah, there you
Spider-Man.
go.
All the other
That
ones have been
stuff is
sold.
really cool and really rad. Lonnie Samantha loved the glasses. She's like, yeah.
Kurt
So there you go.
Cobain, right? I don't know
And
if she
then
knew. Did she know that?
No,
I
I don't think she made the connection, but
Okay, because
and then I found that thing on the I found a Dan O'Toole thing on the All-Star game, and I think you might get a kick out of this.
Oh, okay, cool.
Check this out.
All right.
Each event, okay, it's at 50,000 at the Sky Dome. How did the Sky Dome? 50,000 people, concert lighting. Each skills event has its own designated area. No waiting around. Imagine a runway you would have for the fastest skater. Player introductions become otherworldly with 50,000 people in there. Like it's like a Kiss concert, right? Friday night is for the kids, so Nickelodeon runs it. Not the NHL. Don't make the players come up with the skits. Let the pros do it. Like because hockey players, man, there's like if there's
They're not
10,
funny.
one's got a personality. The rest of them are like,
They're
I
not
love
funny.
I love the tragically hip and I also like donuts. Like whatever. Who can put on their equipment on the fastest skate or like for the kids thing? Who can put their equipment on fastest and then they got to skate in slime. Nickelodeon, right? And people getting slimed while they're playing and shit like that. Like that's really cool.
They should do like an after hours one where they add alcohol to whatever they're doing.
Winner of each skilled event wins a massive prize. Sponsors would fall over themselves. If a player breaks a skills record, everyone in attendance wins something. The game, it's done, it's gone. Instead, teams are picked Friday night by drawing the names out of a hat. Which they tried a couple years ago. 10 teams, no conferences, no divisions. It's a free for all. Amazing drama. See who plays with who. Kind of like hockey like a pond hockey. First team to 10 wins. No offsides, no face-offs. Race back to center ice after you score. Last team standing gets $1 million.
Wow.
And that no one will look away. And I thought, and the one final addition to soccer warm-up hockey players play. Add that into Friday night skills competition. And mix other sports into it. So I thought that was a pretty good take.
That's
You're
pretty
trying
neat.
to get more eyes on it. You're trying to get more eyes on
Yeah,
it.
and then as I mentioned, I think if they had some alcohol after hours and had them skate around and play hockey, that'd be pretty funny.
What kind of alcohol do you like?
Like beer? Well, they all drink beer, man.
Like
They're
it
all-
when Smithsy brings in the Molsons, eh?
They're all beer drinkers. I'm sure they are, man. I'm sure they are.
Oh,
Yeah,
anyways,
right on.
buddy.
So, yeah, we're gonna thank Crier Media for
Our friends
for
at
the
Crier.
radness. Yeah,
Our friends
thanks,
at Crier Media.
dudes.
Yeah, they've been
Dudes and
doing some
necessities.
rad stuff. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and the team over there for adding. I'll just bring this logo up, Lonnie, while it's here. We are part of the Crime Media Network now, which is doing some great stuff.
There it is.
We want to thank them for that. Lonnie,
And what do you got coming up next?
When I'm gonna sleep. I just did 25 hours of travel, so that was
don't
exciting.
but you're podcasting. You don't you have something? Coming
Yeah,
up?
I got it. One like the Do Did Will podcast. It's on episode 5 coming up, which is great. I had a guy from the network named Scott McGregor on last week. We just kind of talked, crypto and all that kind of stuff, but I got him to dumb it right the hell down because people are like, what the hell is it? And what is a Bitcoin? I'm like, I need you to dumb this shit like way, way down, all the way down to like, grab this, put it here, buy this. So because he got in, he dove into a bit of that. So that was kind of cool. I've had a Paralympic swimmer on, which is awesome. Tara Sloan, was on from the San Jose Sharks. And this week coming up, actually, I have got a friend of mine who works at the Seattle, the arena, the Climate Pledge Arena where the Kraken play. And it's a fully sustainable arena from top to bottom. The Zamboni's electric. The ice is made out of rainwater. There's a thing on the roof that it's just a really rad place. I've done a show there. It's one of my favorite places to do shows now. Cool. And she's got a full breakdown about being the first NHL arena to be like that. So she's gonna kind of break that down. So and kind of diving into some new territory. And then I've got some band guys eventually coming on. And also, you gave me an idea. I've been running this thing called Sunday Night Storytime. So it's a little bit of I know you like this, a little bit of a mellow breakdown on a Sunday night. The week's over, Monday night's coming. Maybe you've had a little bit of, the ganja. You've watched a movie, and it's ready for bed. So I'm doing these like 20-minute kind of like stories. So the first one I did on the Foos. Ryan Lindley came on and did one on Anthony Bourdain, which was kind of cool. And I was like, I was trying to find a way to do something that would be a Sunday night that we could merge these two shows. And I think we need to do a Sunday night story time on Stanley Kubrick. So that would be just like a 20-minute, like the nuts and the bolts of what he's all about.
Ooh, I don't know if we could do that in 20 minutes.
Well, it's more like what
I don't know if I can. I'm saying I don't know if I could do that.
Well, we could do 30. We could do 30, whatever it is. But it's more. It's more like the brilliance of him, but sort of like a bit more of a story about how his movies kind of came to be more so than the conspiracy side. It's more sort of like, wow, the moon, was it real? Like, and then they use the studio for shit.
That's
So
cool.
I think
I'm always down with talking about that kind of stuff.
So I think I'd like to have that be the new Sunday night story time, or an episode coming up. So stay tuned. Anyways, Did Will.
Great.
It's a new thing.
Excellent. What's on?
Commercial
You want to show a commercial?
of ours.
Okay. Lonnie's going to show something here.
Let's see a commercial.
Let's see this. Will it let me switch?
Oh.
Oh,
don't know.
never mind.
Not gonna let you. I saw an old Saturday Night Live skit, dude, and it was a Marvel take on Oscar the Grouch. Have you seen that?
I think I might have seen it.
Oh, it was so good. I tried to share it on Facebook, I think, but it was so funny, man. Watch that tonight, you'll laugh.
Okay.
Really good.
I will.
Good. All right, dude. Cheers, man. Party on. Be excellent to each other. Good times.
Rad dudes. See you next week, people.
Yeah, we'll do DC next week. New DC announcement.
DC, full
We'll hit
breakdown
that
of
next week,
the James Gunn announcement.
Yeah.
There's lots to dissect. So
Great. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, next week, DC, brothers. Peace.